what do you recommend to people who are thinking of starting a brand? Would you say like, go get all the jobs and figure it out?
I think those experiences really did build like a little CEO in the making. I would say if you're starting right now, it would be such a wise idea to be either working under someone. I always say make mistakes with somebody else's money.
It's so true.
Period.
That is like such a huge takeaway. Lauren, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here. Can't wait.
I'm so excited to just sit and chat about everything that you've created and all that you've done, because you are such a creative person, which this is going to be so much fun. And I've also gotten to work with you in a few different capacities. I, first of all, do not know where I first found you. I literally think it was either an Instagram ad or
oh my God, I didn't know that.
Somebody shared your stuff. I have no idea. I am in a massive jewelry phase in my life.
Yes.
And I was just looking through, obviously I was just on Instagram and I was scrolling and your jewelry caught my eye. And then I looked and I'm in a place of like trying a ton of different things. So I also was like, whoa, your price point is awesome. Because a lot of times I land on things and I'm like, okay, I'll try a piece or two. But yours, I was like, add to cart. I think my first cart order, I don't even remember, but I feel like I probably ordered like 4 or 5 things.
I'm pretty sure it's like 600, your first order. I was like, woo, I always remember those names.
That's so funny. And then I had multiple orders that were like that because I just loved the quality. I loved how it looked. I loved that it felt really unique. And your branding, though, there was something about your branding that just made me feel like I wanted to be a part of it. And so I'm very much in the branding phase of my life as well. So I think the whole thing when I fell on your Instagram page, and then I also, of course, we all go and we search out who the founder is if you're an entrepreneur and anybody listening to this podcast. And I was like, I love this girl. She's super stylish. She's got a great attitude. She's got that like amazing girlfriend energy, which you do. You're like very much a girl's girl, but also still so cool, like, which doesn't happen all the time. So that's when I was like, I'm going to just send her rando messages. And, you know, if she thinks I'm a freak, that's great. But I was like, hey, I love your jewelry.
Love it. I'm a fellow freak.
and then here we are. And I actually got to work with you on a photo shoot.
Yes.
Where you styled a photo shoot for me. So we had your jewelry, some clothes, but you also just helped me with the whole overall like vibe of what it was going to be, which is going to be a podcast rebrand. So I'm very excited to have you here. But thank you so much for coming on. So we're going to dig into all of that because I know you have such a colorful past of so many things, like most creatives I know. So I would love for you to kind of take us back to your childhood. I know I had asked you for some fun facts and you had told me one that was you had lived somewhere different every 24 hours. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, tell me about what that is.
So whenever I tell this story, people are like, this has to be a movie because it's so crazy. But long story short of it all is that my parents got divorced before I was even 1 year old. And I'm humble, but they loved me so much that they wanted to split their time every 24 hours, every other parent.
Wow.
Until I was 16 years old, I was living like that. So
wow,
really crazy setup. Obviously, you know, that takes a lot of effort and work on my end to like try and stay organized. And like amongst all the chaos, I was going to like a very intense private school my whole life and trying to like keep the homework and the uniforms and like the whole thing is just, I mean, so crazy. They did the best that they could with what they had. And they're both incredible parents. Talk to them like 5 times a day each still. But yeah, it was definitely a wild way to grow up, I would say. But
were you always creative? I'm just trying to think of like being creative in that type of environment. What did that look like? How did you, when you grew up, what were some of the things you leaned towards?
I would say, oh yeah, for sure, always creative. I think that really had a part in like my schooling, right? I went to a super private school where it was very academic focused and I was very opposite. So I had full-time tutors, like just was kind of behind everyone in a different way. Wasn't really interested, was like drawing while everybody was studying and like didn't really grasp that So I did everything when I was younger, like was in singing lessons for 14 years and like everything creative I could get my hands on, excelled at. So for high school, my parents were like, we're putting you in a magnet art school. Like this is going to be your thing. And when I tell you, it was chef's kiss, perfect fit, could not have been a better choice for me. I just was able to thrive. I literally came out of my shell.
Okay, so when you were young, what, like, not excelling in all of the other things in academia, were you like, were people like, is this kid smart? Is she not smart? Like, what did that look like growing up? Or did they know you were just massively creative, or were they worried about you?
My parents definitely knew I was massively creative, for sure, and super social. Like being an only child, it really pushes you out of your comfort zone. Like everybody was my best friend. Like you're coming home with me. Yeah. It was just like not an option. But I do think the teachers saw like I had severe ADHD, like from a very young age. My parents are very homeopathic. So, you know, pills were never on the table, which I'm actually very glad about. Always natural, like. Anyway, so that was the route that they took. And I think a lot of my teachers, being that I was in such a small private school, I had 8 kids in my class.
Oh, wow.
From preschool to 8th grade.
Yeah.
Like such an individualized, tailored schooling to where I think they were really hyper fixated on the human that I was, that you don't really get that in public school. I mean, this is such a unique experience. So I think they were just more hyper fixated on like, why aren't you getting it? And for me, I just honestly wasn't interested.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, talk about
you were fine with it. You
necklaces,
were just like, no.
babe. Like let's get on the same page here.
You're like
or like Coco
old.
Chanel. Yeah. I'm like, let's talk about something that interests me.
Yeah.
Which I think is common for so many kids. And when you're in a school that's private like that has such a high level of academia at such a young age, it really is a lot of pressure and stress. But obviously they just wanted the best for me. And I'm glad that I got that. But such a polar difference when I went to high school and was like, oh, these are my people. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. This is the space I'm meant to thrive in. Like, all of my friends were in photography, painting. Like, my first year in high school, I did like a 4.2 because I was like, oh, this is right. You know,
everything
you're just in the right
kind of
room.
clicked.
Yeah.
So for you growing up, what were some things I always like to learn? Like, what was something that you were taught that you had to lose in order to become the person you are now? So like a way maybe that you were raised or your parents used to think.
Yeah.
And then what was something that really helped you with what you do now, like the way that you were raised?
I think being in that environment where I was, you know, back and forth so often, I had a massive lack of control in my life. And, you know, I've been in therapy my whole life, proud to say, but my therapist always goes back and tells me, you know, when you were younger, you had little to no control of anything. Yeah. And so I formed OCD when I was really young, like fully diagnosed and everything. And I was not a perfectionist, but like I felt like that was me taking control of a certain part of my life. You know, thank God I was able to shed that and shed those rituals and habits and things like that. But that's something I take super seriously. And I'm, you know, was very proactive in like my healing from that.
How would that show up for you? Like the OCD as a young kid? In
a very dark way. I mean, like there were some mornings on the way to school or before we would leave the house that I would like brush my teeth 20 times and not want to step on a crack like the old wives' tale. But something in my belief system was like, okay, this is the way that you're going to have control of your life. And it was always like crazy drama, you know, crazy things that like movie stuff that would never
as a
actually...
kid, that's kind of what you have control over. Like, right. Can I brush my teeth? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's just this mental thing that formed from, you know, me having zero to no control over my life and had it up until like early teens and formative years. And luckily went to therapy and worked through it in a natural way. But it's really hard when you know, you're so young and you have no idea what's going on. It's all happening around you. So I think that shaped me to really, you know, be aware of that and that literally what's going to happen is what's going to happen. All you have control of is how you react to it. And, you know, I wish I could tell little old me that and be like, it's okay. Like everything is going to be okay. But it's hard when you're out of it now. But it was tough.
What are some things that you feel like you've really gained from that experience of the constant back and forth? I literally just, for my personal, like who I am, I can't imagine sleeping somewhere every single other night, even though it might be like the same somewhere. It's still like this going back and forth and never having like a super normal semblance of like what you're doing at that time. So what would you say you really gained from that experience now, even though it was crazy as a child?
I would say I learned to be very present in the spaces I was in. I obviously, as a little girl, you want your mommy.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I would be at my dad's, whom I love dearly and is a best friend of mine now, I would be missing my mom or not fully being able to be present at my dad's because I wasn't in my mom's space or whatever it was. And sometimes vice versa. So I think just being, this is where I am right now. And how can I make the most out of this situation?
Wow, yeah.
Even though, being so young, you want both of your parents to be in the same place. And to be honest, in my older life, I have kind of manifested it in the way of like making my parents be best friends. I was like in my early 20s, I was like, you guys, this is over. Like, I know we're divorced, but we can be besties. Let's all come together. And my partner, he always talks about this. He's like, it's crazy how comfortable and, just like so at ease your parents are in the same room as each other. He's like, can't imagine a divorced couple like that. And I'm like, well, it's, I've encouraged them, and through me, hopefully it's my influence, but, just encouraging them that life is short and let's all relish in each other's company because they're both such incredible human beings. They have so much in common. And they made me. So that's their biggest thing.
You're like, this is magical. So, yes.
No, and they love it and celebrate it and are super grateful too for it. They're like, thank you for making us all get along. And they're always at each other's Christmases and like, we don't do things separate anymore. So
that's so good.
Yeah.
What is something that you grew up with that was always told to you by your mom or your dad that has been like a game changer for you?
I think from my mom, well, different ones from my mom and my dad, but my mom has owned her own business since I was 3 years old, and my dad owns his own as well. Grew up in like a family of entrepreneurs. But my mom was always like, nothing will come to you. You have to work very hard. And I definitely formed my grit from watching how she works, how hard she works. And I never, ever, as a child, ever remember money ever being an issue or a topic or anything like that because she hustled. She hustled so she could make it happen.
What did she do?
So my mom worked in shipping when I was really young and then started and she now has an antique business of almost 30 years. It's called Fishy Finds. And
Fishy Finds?
Yes.
This is great.
It's an amazing store. It's like 6,000 square feet. It's incredible. She has such a great eye and she knows everything about everything. Like she can appraise something out of like a dark dungeon. She would know how much it costs. Like, it's crazy. So anyways, just really seeing how hard it is to build a business from the ground up and, no schooling or anything for what she ended up doing, but just seeing that grit and really knowing like the hours it takes and waking up at 2 a.m. to go to the Rose Bowl to then make connections and, like build this community around her brand that she now has. It's incredible to see like where she started and now where she is. But that was a really big, that's been a huge part of my life and showed me like nothing is handed to you at all. And it takes extreme hard work. I think people, enter like owning a small business and they're like, oh, this is going to be great. Like it's going to be all these things. And it's like, yes, it's great, but it's also incredibly the toughest thing you could do.
I know. Like, I love when people quit their full-time job to then work like 100 hours a week.
Oh, I'm like, babe, this one doesn't shut off.
Yeah.
And like now that I work with my partner, which we'll get into, but it's even more so, right? You really have to compartmentalize your life and then your business. And my life is my business.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So it's just that finding that line in between. And my dad, the same, his mom started a business. She invented a certain type of wheelchair. So he worked for her since I was a baby. And I grew up in that environment, seeing him, run the family business. And he's incredibly inspiring as well. Now owns his own business of like, I think over 15 years. He's an arborist, tree specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I knew that, but yes.
Yeah, you're like, yep, got it. No, but he's, he's had so many businesses as well. And he's like, you just have to follow truly where your passion is. And I think that's why I've, been able to have my business for so many years now is because it truly is what I love.
Was working for somebody ever a thing, or because you saw them, you grew up that way and it's such an entrepreneurial household? Was it just, you were always going to have a business, or what did you think when you grew up?
Oh my God, I wish it wasn't a thing. I wish I could go back and be like, little Lauren, just go for it. No, I worked retail for 13 years. I worked for so many different companies and in so many different positions
Mm-hmm.
that now looking back, I'm like, thank God. You know, I worked in a showroom. I worked at August Showroom, which is in downtown. They host amazing brands. I worked for my friend Jen Rossi, who owns Jen's Pirate Booty, that I think you know.
Oh, yeah.
I worked for so many, and then I,
Spent some money on that site.
Yeah, we funded it a little. But just so many, you know, also so many jobs where I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? This is so not like soul nourishing, you know, it's sucking. And I'm so social. So I think those jobs, I did really well in them because I was able to give a lot of energy to people. And oftentimes that's what you go into a store for. You know, you're going to buy a top, but you're also going to get like a mini therapy session.
Of course.
And I think I was really good at that. So, and it was commission. So it worked out for me. But, you know, in the long run, it taught me customer service and brand building. And I saw so many behind the scenes things of these founders of these big businesses. And you just don't learn that in a classroom.
No.
So I'm forever grateful that I did that at a very young age, truthfully.
Are you glad that you got that experience before starting your brand? Because a lot of people, especially now, it's like, you know, all of these young people are looking on Instagram and they kind of think like they can just pop up and start something right away, which some can, some totally can, depending upon like their help and all of the things.
Yeah.
But what do you recommend to people? And we'll dive into your company and like how that got started. But what do you recommend to people who are thinking of starting a brand? Would you say like, go get all the jobs and figure it out? Or what does that path look like?
I think it's so different per person. For me, I'm really grateful that I had that because like I said, I didn't go to college. You know, I was in community college and then moved to Australia and Bali and a bunch of crazy stuff. But I didn't have that classroom experience or that business experience, you know, when it comes to like business finances or any of those backgrounds that for me, I think why I was able to launch it because I already had that experience of, you know, customer service and like brand building and all of those things that I would not have learned otherwise. Obviously had amazing mentors in my life, but yeah, I think those experiences really did build like a little CEO in the making. And so I'm really grateful. And I would just say, I think it's not a bad idea to have a job whilst starting your business. I didn't. It was the beginning of COVID. So I was in a very different situation. But I would say if you're starting right now, it would be such a wise idea to be either working under someone. I always say make mistakes with somebody else's money.
It's so true.
Period.
It's so true. That is so true. If you get anything, any big thing from this podcast, which you'll get a lot, but that is like such a huge takeaway. Yeah. Okay, I love that. So let's talk about the beginning of Ginneca Row, which is what you're doing now. All of like the jewelry that we're both wearing. If you're on camera, we can see. We're just like
fully stacked.
Yes, I'm not as fully stacked as I want to be today, but she is fully stacked with her new collection too.
Always. This is my base layer, by the way.
This is the base layer.
I only add on to start. This.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I know. I'm actually in a place in my life where I'm like, if I feel uncomfortable leaving the house, go add 2 more pieces.
100%. Yeah. Coco Chanel.
Okay, that's what it is. Yes, I'm like literally, I've heard it before, and it's like the best advice on planet Earth because it's like just makes you get so into. Like, I just want to be so comfortable with myself. You know, that's my like eternal life project is like, how can I just be so comfortable being the most or being the least?
Yeah,
like, however, like in all forms. Okay. So tell me, what that looked like in the decision-making period of the back and forth of, am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this?
Love that. So I started my business in COVID. Like I said before, we haven't tapped on this yet, but I was a celebrity stylist and a stylist at a store called Ron Herman.
Okay.
Had many clients there, but you know, a lot of my higher profile clients that were like celebrities and such would always ask me about the jewelry I was wearing. And of course, obviously I made it and could not sell it to them, but would gift it to them because the opportunity for them to be in it would be life-changing for me. So COVID hit, everybody got laid off, and I was already in the mindset of, I had actually put in my 2 weeks before COVID had hit. And I told my mom, I was like, I'm going full throttle. And COVID hit, and it was very, very lucky timing. This was like divine timing for me. Anyways, that happened, and I had no choice but to put my all into this business and this brand. Within 2 weeks, I kid you not, I had one of those visors on, gloves, a mask, because COVID, you know, it was in the beginning when everybody was like, oh my God, we're going to die. There's aliens.
Right.
And
it was LA.
It was LA.
Yeah, I was there.
And was walking into stores like selling my brand to these people.
Wow.
Like, hi, I have a jewelry brand. I know no one's shopping in person right now, but like, God forbid you take me up on this, you know?
Mhm.
And it worked. It just hit. And I think we were in the phase of like people, you know, spending money because there was honestly nothing else to do.
Mhm.
You know, we want to adorn ourselves, wear sweats, drink good wine, and wear hot jewelry. Like, I was just like, cool, this is the perfect timing.
Mhm.
And kind of just went from there. Our first 2 weeks, I think I got into 2 or 3 stores locally. I was in Sherman Oaks at the time.
So, but no one was shopping in person. So how was that working?
A couple people were.
Okay. Oh, because we could go in. I'm trying to remember back.
You
we
could,
could
like,
go. That's
DM.
right. We could go. We
Yeah,
could go in.
You could go.
Okay.
In. There was a couple
Yep.
stores that stayed open as long as you wore a mask and gloves. Like
Okay.
these, you know, brick and mortar stores that are paying monthly rent that are not getting any kickbacks from the government that are like, well, we have to stay open somehow.
Yeah, totally.
So I won't name names, but like, people were still going in and shopping
Okay.
for sure. Whether it was like backdoor stuff or
Were you online at the time too, or were you
No.
all in stores?
all in stores and DM. There was a lot of word of mouth. My dear friend Jen Rossi, who owns Jen's Pirate Booty,
Yep.
she actually started with sweatpants. I don't know if you know that, but I made
No.
tie-dye sweatpants in the very beginning. I had like my own production. I went downtown, got the fabric, had a seamstress, like handmade all these sweatpants.
Wow.
Like Aviator Nation vibes, but I was tie-dyeing them in my bathtub.
Oh my God.
And she posted and they like went viral in the beginning for me. So I'm doing like 30 sets a day. So like 60 separates in my little apartment.
But you probably didn't even have
bathtub.
room to like hang them.
It was a disaster. It was so crazy. And I was like, I don't know what Ginneca Row is going to be,
Strings,
but
like-
yeah, literally like strings in my bathroom. There's like dripping dye on the floor. I'm like,
Oh
mess.
God.
But it's what people were
It's
drawn
what you
to.
do.
And I was
Mhm.
forming a community. So I was like, oh my gosh. I knew in the back of my head, obviously, I wanted it to be a jewelry brand.
Mhm.
But I was like, well, if this is what gets it off the ground,
Totally.
so be it. And
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember, but everybody was just in sweats that whole period.
For sure.
And I was like, well, also a good time to kind of launch into the jewelry. Sweats,
Mhm.
jewelry, like, let's
Yeah.
be a little hotter than just the sweat.
You're like, you can add the
So
jewelry to your
yeah,
sweats.
add a
Yeah.
hoop, babe, not
Yeah.
hard. So that was a really good segue for me. And then honestly, yeah, it just took off from there with all the, you know, obviously cold calling and things I did at all of my old jobs. Because I was a sales rep, I had a lot of contacts and connects and really just put myself out there. Like raw, this is me, this is what I'm doing now.
Okay, so tell me about how much it costs to get started with the jewelry. Were you designing the jewelry? What does that look like? Who did you find to help you with that? Like all of that, putting it together. So if anybody's listening and they're like, how do you even start something like that? I really want you to go through and just say what you put together.
Okay, yes. I think at the time I did not have a ton, mind you, this is 7 years ago.
Okay.
So my whole relationship with money has shifted now. My partner in life and in the business is in finance. That's what he went to school for. So he's got me. I know my stuff now, but back then I definitely did not.
For sure. I didn't
I
know
think-
shit before.
Oh my God. I think I started it with like maybe put aside like $2,000 to be like, okay, let's put all of this into, mind you, we were also getting funds from the government at the time for, I forget what it was called, but it was like a few.
We call them
grand a
jewelry
week or
funds.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. We call them just jewelry funds. Anyways, you know, was using my entire savings being like, okay, well, I have nothing else to pour this into right now. Let's just go for it.
Mhm.
So it was very helpful, obviously, because we were still getting, you know, stipulations from the government.
Yeah.
So I just used all of that. I was like, I'm literally not going to spend another dollar besides on Ginneca Row stuff. I just honestly started Googling. I had been making jewelry since I was 5. We didn't touch on that. But
when you say that, like where?
Like
in a
beading.
workshop?
Like
Beading,
literally
okay.
just like at home beading for hours. I actually taught a hand wire wrapping class when I was 12 years old at like my local bead store.
Yep.
But like that kind of stuff always was with me, right? So my mom would
Mhm.
drive me to gem shows and whatever. So I did already know about the world, but what I entered into was a totally different thing. So I
Mhm.
was literally Googling from day one. I'll never forget. I was up at like 2 a.m. talking to a manufacturer in China. And now we have 5 manufacturers. But, you know, just kind of doing my research of like, where do people get stuff made? Like even the
Mhm.
concept of that. So I originally started, they have these crazy high minimums, which now obviously we work with. But at the time, I was so small. So I was hand making every piece. I was just sourcing wholesale chain and the best quality I could find. I was doing little custom like charm necklaces, doing everything like that I could.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was
So kind
just-
of like, what was that volume the first couple months? If you're hand making it, or are you talking like 4 pieces a month? Or are you talking like, what did that look like?
No, I would say from the beginning, I think jewelry girls are very hard hitters, especially when they like join a community and know that, you know, this is literally my life and my passion. I would say in the beginning, beyond the sweatsuits, which we would sell upwards to like 30 sets of sweats a day, which was high volume for being handmade. I would say the jewelry was probably in the beginning somewhere from like 10 to 20 pieces a day.
Okay. That's a lot.
It's
that
still
you're
a lot for hand making. Yes.
And is this because, just for anybody listening, like, is this because you got to tap into somebody with a list who had shared it? Like, where did the eyeballs all come from? Was it from being able to tap into some of those people with lists, meaning email lists, but also the people in the retail side that you knew?
I think it was a combo, and also a lot of my friends at the time who did have a platform would be posting about it. I think I did very light gifting in the beginning. I didn't even know what that was, or would, you know, pop something free in with their gifts so that they would feel an urge to talk about it and be like, oh my God, the quality is amazing. And just getting people to really trust the brand in the beginning, which was huge. So if I had someone who had, you know, a bigger influence, obviously would, you know, help them out with something else, because the brand needed the organic following at the beginning. And that's what really helped us, I think, is just giving people awareness and, you know, thank you so much for buying this $20 earring or whatever it was at the time. And like, here's a bracelet, enjoy it. And I hope you come back. Just like any other business, like a restaurant starts, you know, you don't know our food's good until you try it. And I still stand by that. You know, we have a lifetime warranty on all of our jewelry. And I'm like, I would love for you to try it. And if it's not for you, I will take care of you.
How did you decide your price point?
Right now is a really good time to talk about that as well, because we're in a world where there are so many brands, and I won't name names, but who are brass based, which is a high allergen. I'm hypoallergenic myself. So every single thing I make is stainless steel, which also enables me to stay at my price point. You know, we've kind of talked about this, having to raise prices, trying to stay where we are. And I think, you know, even in this economy where people are struggling to find more affordable brands, I want to be that attainable luxury. I want you to wear a piece that, you know, looks crazy expensive and the quality is there and doesn't cost $100 a piece. I've always wanted people to be able to stack for under like $200. You could buy 2 rings, a necklace. Like, I just want you to have it. I want to get it in your hands and I want you to enjoy it, truthfully. Like, I care about my customer so much.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I personally, it's so funny because in another lifetime, I will have a jewelry brand, but not this lifetime. But so I'll just like literally buy your stuff, or feel like I get to be a part of it through this podcast. But I love it because I think, especially for women who are getting in, like, really into jewelry, and they're like, oh, there's that next level to like really make me feel elevated or elevate my outfits. What's so nice about yours is you can go and get a bunch of stuff to complete a really good look, but not feel like, oh, I love this, but I can only get one thing. And a lot of times, if I'm being honest, like, I can't tell the difference between some of this super high quality stuff that I bought, meaning like some of the real jewelry I have bought where it's like the gold or the diamonds or whatever. Now, like, moissanite and things are so popular, but like, even those are still a really high price point. Like, you're dropping, you know, $1,000 to $3,000 to $4,500 for maybe a necklace. And I'm holding them like by each other and cannot tell the difference.
Right.
Like, even on your skin and how it feels.
Totally.
So that's been really interesting for me, because I've been going down this jewelry like exploration like really hard for the last year.
Yeah.
And I've come to the conclusion, I like buying more stuff.
Correct. Yes. Oh my gosh. No, so true as well, because like the trends come and go so quickly, and I try to stay ahead of all of it, but I really try and keep a classic core collection of things that you'll always go back to in your jewelry box.
Totally.
So that is how we stayed at that price
I have
point.
some very expensive stuff in my jewelry box, and yet I still put on, it's kind of like the 3 same rings of yours.
Yes.
Because they fit really good. They never ever make my finger another color.
Yes.
I always get compliments on them. Like, they're unique enough, you know, where they're just like, oh, what is that piece?
Yeah.
So
I also tell my customer, for traveling, like, leave your stuff at home.
Exactly.
Please. We've had so many experiences with that personally, where I'm like, I will never be taking like any of my heirlooms. That's why I recreate them. We have so many custom pieces I've made for Ginneca Row that have been off of like an heirloom from my grandma or something like that I will now take. I'm like, I'd rather lose the $100 item than the $10,000 item.
Oh,
Let's
for
just
sure.
Be smart when we travel.
And even living in LA, wearing things out. I'm just being honest.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wearing things out in the world.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to hear about where you're at right now in the company. What have been some of the biggest struggles that you've gone through?
I think, as you know, being a business owner, there are so many struggles and positives. I think every single day is so different. We can wake up and there's fires to put out all the time.
All the time, every day.
Regardless if it's like our shipping department or whatever it is. I think the biggest one for me, going back to how I was as a child, I love having the most control I can possibly have over every aspect of the business because it is seriously my baby. I care about it so much. And until we start a family, it really is our baby. So I'm just every little thing matters. Every email, every DM, I look at everything. If there is ever an issue with something, I am always super attentive. I will literally take the item off of the website, check it out, ask production what's going on. So that's been a really big hurdle for us that we've had to overcome, is just that at the end of the day, we can't always control every aspect. I think one this past year that we've overcome is, we've put a lot of marketing out there, and as our brand is growing and getting so much bigger, even in just this last year, we've had to get a warehouse that ships all orders out because we were chained to the desk having to ship orders.
Were you doing the orders still?
My partner and I were.
You were?
Yes. So this past year, for the last year, we have had a warehouse doing it for us. And in the beginning, it was super nice. I'm like, wow, we have time to design and do all the creative things that light me up and that I love. But girl,
yeah,
we figured out fast nobody cares about the business like we do. And I think when you're at the volume that we are, even one little order mistake for me is huge. If you didn't clip a thread on a hat, or if there was something missing, God forbid, that is a huge deal for us. And so, we've taken it back on since, because there was just too many discrepancies.
Back home doing it.
We are back on it doing it. We did get a house, a 3-bedroom home. Okay. So now we have...
So you have your shipping room?
We have a shipping room where...
Thank God the products are small.
We literally
and you don't do shoes or something.
It's I think sometimes people think we're a Nordstrom. Yeah. And I'm no, baby, this is me. You're talking to me right now, or my man, but we take it very, very serious. And thank God we have now over 500 5-star reviews in the past year since taking it over. That's amazing. And I think it was just that difference of, we care. And we have, had so many conversations, but it gets lost in the sauce, and they work for so many other brands. It's hard to get the same attention to detail. Nobody's ever going to care for your baby like you do.
Is there a point where you're going to have to go out of that, 100%. Though?
100%. Yeah. 100%. It's just he's so valuable to me in so many other ways in the business that it does take him away, or the first 3 hours of the day will be, let's get these orders out next day. Because we take a lot of pride in next or same day shipping, which is one of the reasons why our brand's grown so big. So it's incredible, but a lot of work. It's not for the faint of heart. No. He works super, super hard. Luckily, part of our revenue comes from in-person pop-ups, which I love more than life itself.
Oh, I want to talk about that because that is something that I admire about you. I feel like when people have a product, truly getting out there and building community, I can already, you've talked so much about how much you love community. I want to talk about all of the pop-ups that you do, how frequently you do them, why you do it, and how people can apply that to their brand.
I truly attribute it to how I grew up and my mom being so outwardly social with her business and building this huge community. Yeah. That because I grew up in it, for me, it was like a second nature. Never nervous, I've never been that girl to be oh, it's so awkward or cringe. I'm cringe? Never heard of her. I'm just doing it. I love it. Totally. It seriously lights me up. Even for someone who's never heard about the brand to walk up to my physical booth and be oh my God, wait, this is $40 or whatever. That is the juice of life for me, that I can supply someone with a little bit of happiness to their day, even though it's just jewelry. For me, it's I'm extending a little piece of self-expression into your life. And, I've had some incredible friends, who have supported me through pop-ups. My good friend Erica, she has a brand, Shop 1111, and she does these soirees, these pop-ups called Shop Small Soiree. And through those, I've built such a huge community of people. There's hundreds of vendors and who are now all like good friends of mine. That's been really incredible. So people just flock and come out, and it's such great community, and the people there are just like family now, literally. That's been so incredible for us. So we do that. We do Rose Bowl every month, which is a very nitty gritty market. We get there at like 4 a.m., but
oh my God,
we see like 20K people a day.
Oh my God.
Incredible exposure. I love meeting all the people. Like we'll have a little line sometimes and I'm just like, my man will be bringing them up and I'm like, hi, like let's take a picture. Let me put a handshake on you. It's so fun.
What types of businesses do you recommend for pop-ups and things like that?
A lot of the vendors there either sell antiques, furniture, jewelry, or clothing. Around the section that I'm in, the very front section, like right when you walk in, but I've also been selling there for 7 years. So you have to like kind of earn your spot there a little bit.
Yep.
But the vendors around my area are all small businesses. So mostly clothing, some jewelry, some like vintage. It's just it's like the best thing ever. People travel really far to come to the Rose Bowl. It's an incredible swap meet. It takes you like a solid 5 hours to get through the whole thing. So it is really fun. I'm always like, can I step away for like 20 minutes and go do my own little shopping?
You're like, I want to go see everything here. I know
it's such a great time.
That's so fun.
So fun.
Okay, so you had mentioned that you'd lived in Bali.
Yes.
You had told me you did 30 days of silence as well.
Yes.
And then I know you have some, like you're like a woo girl like me, which I love.
Yeah.
So I would,
woo.
Yeah. Very woo-woo. I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like it just makes business so much better, easier. Oh my gosh. Because business can be very challenging as we both know. And you can get so into like the strategic brain. And we forget that sometimes we have to like clear it all out to remember what works for us and what our skill set is, which clearly you're such a community builder. I'm a community builder as well. And it's so easy to forget that that's actually what can be the secret sauce.
Totally.
And so I would love to hear, first of all, I kind of want to hear about you living in Bali and then what prompted the 30 days of silence. Because you told me
you're like, you're a nonstop yapper.
Actually, you're great. You had told me, you're like, I don't quit yapping. I'm like, no, you're really great. You've got a great flow to your stories. So 30 days of silence, but you love to talk. Like, why? Okay, Bali and then that.
Literally the hardest thing I've ever done, you guys. So that was a phase where I was previously living in Australia. I lived in Australia for a year out of high school. It was like my gap year.
Okay, what was that? Just for fun?
Knew nobody. Moved to Australia, lived in Sydney, and then moved to Byron Bay to work for a brand called Spell and the Gypsy Collective, who I'm still dear friends with. They saw them at Stagecoach. We had a great time. Like, those girls are incredible, but they're two sisters who started a brand there, and they took a chance on me, and I became like an in-store stylist for them.
Wow.
So that was my first look into styling.
That's wild.
Isn't it crazy?
It's so fun.
Would literally show up to work with like salty sandy hair, no shoes, like hippie to the max. Imagine like Abbott Kinney, but like on steroids. It was just like the cutest little town. Surfed there, like just so incredible. Made so many cool friends. Then moved to Bali after my year there and got a visa to be there for 3 months for a yoga teacher training, which was incredible. Part of it was the silence. So it was silent in the morning before 8 a.m. and then sober as well for 30 days. Which at the time it was like 19. So that's like really hard for a 19-year-old. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But anyways, so I remember I lived with this like local guy on his like rice paddy field literally for like $20 a night in Bali when I was going to school. And would be on my way to school. Hi, Mom. Like, love you so much. I'm supposed to be silent right now, but I'm on my way to class. And like, I'm doing really like just crazy, but so fun. Learned so much, I think, just about myself. That was like a really big healing era for me after Australia. And it was just a very like inward time. And just, I think when you're by yourself and you travel alone, you don't have anyone you're, being dependent on, and you're just really by yourself, teaches you so much about you. And I'm so blessed that, I am the kind of person that like, I feel like I can go anywhere and make a friend. I mean, the first day there, I had like 6 girls. I was like, let's go, babes. Like we just did everything together and was such a group, but a really cool chapter and period that taught me a lot.
What would you say that, during that time, because being alone, that's kind of that can be really scary for a lot of people. A different country.
Yes.
Not like understanding necessarily even where to go, get your stuff, like all of the basic life things that are hard, or I mean, that seem easy that people forget about, but are hard there, you know?
Yes.
So what are the things that you would say, if you could define that chapter in your life, if Australia was a chapter, and then if Bali was a chapter, what would those two chapters be called or about?
I would say Australia would be escapism. And Bali would be internalizing.
What were you escaping from in Australia?
I think a lot of things in my like late teens, you know, I moved to Hollywood Boulevard when I was like or my older teens when I was 18. But like that was a very experimental, crazy, wild chapter of my life. Wild.
Yeah.
Like I lived with my best friend at the time and she was or still my best friend, but she's in a band. So I was like doing burlesque for her band at night, like just the craziest stuff you've ever heard. And the stories I could tell, but no, take it to the grave.
Or a book.
or maybe a book someday without any names. Later. But you know, just like having all of that craziness and then kind of going to a different place and really kind of doing the same thing, but in a different country with people who I didn't know, and like being really open, like you can basically be whoever you want when you go into a different country. And I would think I was also still finding who that was.
For sure.
So maybe we rename that chapter as finding yourself. And I think that really did it for me. That and Bali was like a very, very solid year. I came back with, 2 feet on the ground. And was like, okay, I needed that.
What made you want to go internal? I know I had a very crazy kind of 3-year period in my life, but it got too crazy for me. And that's what made me find all of the things. That's what made me kind of figure out personal development and trying to deal with my anxiety and all the different things that I struggled with.
Absolutely.
Was there a tipping point for you that made you want to internalize, or was it just like what was that? Because that's not that normal to go from that extreme to go like 30 days of silence, move to Bali. Like those are extremes.
I did go through a very intense trauma when I was 18 years old at my place of work, and the person, it's not something I talk about that publicly, but the person is in jail for the rest of their life. So I think that when you go through that kind of trauma where you genuinely think that your life may be over, when you go through that kind of an experience, you tend to live like that. And I'm grateful for it. I'm not the kind of person who looks back on it and is like upset or sad or triggered due to tons of years of therapy. But also, I owe a lot of my happiness to it because I have something to compare it to. I'm like, wow, life is very fragile and delicate. And so I think that going on those travels and those trips really made me, obviously there's some days where I was like, oh my God, did I do this way too soon? But luckily I have an amazing support system around me and was able to get through everything and be who I am because of it. It made me be like, wow, I am like such a lover of life. I really love what I do. There's not a minute to waste. That truthfully is a great way to put it for me. It's like just, going through something traumatic in life will make you look back and be like, wow, we are so blessed. I'm so lucky to be doing what I love, and it's all because of you.
I had an experience where I wrote about it in my book, but I was kidnapped in Mexico overnight and beaten, and wasn't sure if I was going to make it out of that experience. But I will tell you that if that wouldn't have happened to me, I don't know the trajectory that I would be on.
Exactly.
Because 2 of my friends have overdosed. They're no longer with us, like that I grew up with, that I was on that path with. And so, whenever I hear stories like yours, it's like, even when I meet some women, I'm like, oh, there's something there. There's something really magical about this person who gets it. Like they get life because they've probably seen a lot more than what people even realize.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like even when I met you, I was like, oh, there's something underlying that's like she gets life.
Yeah.
So
it is like that old soul energy. A lot of people say that too when they meet me. They're like, I had no idea that you were like this or whatever. And I'm like, I'm raunchy, I'm loud, I'm funny, I'm a million things. But like it is because, we've not let that experience stop us from living life. Like it has made me even more so, like crazier, louder, all the things, because I'm just like, wow, like I am so lucky to be here and be doing what I love and like not waste a day. I don't waste a day. I literally have it tattooed on me. Like I am in it every single day doing what I freaking love. And I hope everybody can like see that and feel that.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's such an inspiration what you're doing, because it really is like going for it and being creative and just really loving on your community, because I've had a lot of people sit in the chair that you're in, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed and forget. And trust me, I get overwhelmed and I forget a lot.
Yeah.
How do you stay tapped into your community? Like, how do you stay in love with what you're doing?
I truly think the pop-ups bring this like energy.
I was thinking that.
Yes. Like they resurged me in like a coffee. It's literally like my daily coffee. I obviously don't go to pop-ups daily. I try to do it like 8 to 10 times a month, which is still a lot. Yeah. I'm really trying to show up for like every different community that I've built. So I love nothing more than to like be set up and someone come by and be like, girl, it's been a week or it's been 2 weeks since I've seen you. Like that gives me that resurgence of like, cannot wait to launch the next collection so Teresa can see it. So Melissa can see it. Like I know you, you know, like I'm looking. My eyes are open to all the DMs and comments. Like I said before, like I'm so a part of what I do. And I hope, you know, I want to be the fabric of what is Ginneca Row. And so for the future, if, you know, someone else helps me take it over or whatever, when we do start a family, I want it to always feel like that.
With my company right now, the one thing that I'm working on is getting back in community, because it was really easy to, I think in certain phases of your business, like probably when you're in creation mode or when you have to kind of go internal, or where there's a big internal, like I've had a big internal team revamp. It's like you go inside the business for a bit, which can kind of make you feel disconnected from your people.
Totally.
And so I'm in this phase where I was just talking with Kaylee, and she's my brand coordinator. I'm like, I have to get back out in community. Like it is literally my DNA. I'm like, I have to remember the why. I have to go talk to the people. I have to go get excited. I have to go create things. Like,
yes,
it's about the people. Like you have to tap back in.
And then to what you just said, the creation, right? Like I did that shoot for you. So we do every single aspect of the brand. Like my hands have touched it. If you've seen it on a platform, my hands have personally touched it. Like all of our shoots, the models, the styling that I do for everything, that is my true spark. Like that is me, you know, I am a stylist through and through. Like that will always be who I am. Bringing jewelry to the table of that is so special for me. But being able to fully, like from start to finish, do all of our productions is really like a zinger for me. This Friday we have our holiday shoot, so I'm like, I cannot wait. You know, there's so many things and details and tiny little Easter eggs that you guys may never even see, but like to me are so crucial and important to it. So that, and then also like you said, being a creative, I constantly need to be using my right brain. So we launch something and I'm immediately like, if not the day after, like, cool, I'm on to the next month or the next 3 months, like immediately into creation mode before I, you know, settle back in to like launch day.
What are some rituals around creation for you? And do you ever dry up?
Oh my gosh, I dry up all the time.
Okay.
But
tell me what you do.
We keep it juicy. I'm like, it's the pop-ups that keep me like in that juicy area of like, I can't wait for the next one. And also hearing people's feedback of like, oh my gosh, I want more small earrings or this and that. So that really is a constant feed for us. It's really good for us to hear that, all of that feedback. Then as far as creation, we have 3 dogs. So I would say, oh my gosh, I love nothing more than to be like in a gorgeous bathtub with like candles on and like a YouTube playing, and like I'll be on my little board like drawing on Canva or something. Like everything is like, for the most part, all of the hats are fully hand designed by me. The jewelry, we're actually stepping into all hand designing. Some of it is manufactured, but we're trying to switch it all to being hand designed. So honestly, creativity is so wild. Like my partner is used to a corporate environment. He now is on the brand full time, but he's used to very much 9 to 5.
Okay.
Last night, I think we were up till 2 a.m. I am like randomly creative.
Talking.
Randomly creative. Am I talking?
No, I mean, what were you up till 2 a.m. doing? Just like being creative, talking like about the brand?
Literally, I'll be on Pinterest. I
Yeah.
have like 5,000 boards on there of like next spring or next summer, like whatever it is, just like constantly seeing things that inspire me on there. That's a huge source of inspiration, as it is for everybody.
Yes.
I try not to do too much scrolling on TikTok, but sometimes I find like cool old school branding ideas that I love on there. But I am really inspired by just like vintage. I'll watch old movies, you know, like a lot of like old school style that is like makes this resurgence and people are like, wow. I'm like, they did it in the 60s or, you know, it's just that kind of stuff really inspires me. I try and stay out of like a lot of the new, you know, like I said, I try not to be on my phone as much as I have to or follow trends. I really want to keep it a classic brand for, you know, core pieces that, you know, you're going to want to give to your granddaughter or daughter. And that's always been the base of my brand. My brand is actually my middle name. A lot of people ask this. So Ginneca is my middle name and it's my two grandmothers' names combined. And my brand, the jewelry itself was inspired by my grandmother has given me a ton of like her fine jewelry and I've recreated a lot of those pieces.
Oh my gosh.
So
are they still around?
Oh yeah.
So they get to see it. Do they get to wear it?
Oh my gosh. Every Christmas, I'm like, here's your haul. Here's your Ginneca Row haul.
This is yours.
It's so fun.
No,
she loves it. She's always showing up to like the family event with a new thing. She's like, look at my new necklace. I'm like, oh my God.
How
copy
fun.
paste.
Okay, so you work with your partner.
Yes.
Tell me about that evolution. I work with my partner on certain things. We used to work together all the time. Then we had to like not work together for a while. And now we know our roles. So now we're great working together just in very clear roles. So tell me about the evolution of him coming to work for your brand and how it's going.
Wait, I have to pick your brain after the podcast about this then. I did not know that. So my partner worked in a corporate environment for most of his life. I think last year was finally the turning point. It was before we moved into our new house. And we were just kind of like, he could see that, you know, I had a small team of people who weren't savants necessarily at what they did. But just more individuals who like, I was kind of paying here and there, nothing like extremely consistent. And I knew I wanted to grow in the brand and the business, obviously. And I needed someone like full throttle. Yeah. So it was just the right timing. I was like, how do you feel about stepping into this role? In the beginning, it was just kind of a little bit of everything. You know, he's based in finance, but has become our full-time, like, not content manager, but our marketing manager for sure. You know, he handles all like our advertising, customer service, shipping, like keeping me in check and in line. But his main goal is really to support me so I can, you know, be as creative as I want to be in my role, which is my dream. Like I would love to just do the creation, the content, the in-person pop-ups and like call it a day. Although I do love responding to emails too, because a lot of them are super positive. It's very rare that we get something, you know, it's mainly shipping issues, which we've now resolved. So it's all fun for me, but he takes on a lot of the, you know, like financial aspects of things that the taxes. And I'm just like, what?
You're like, thank God.
Q what? Yeah. Q4 what? No, I have to know about those things. And I love learning from him. He's a constant source of information for me. And he's always, I mean, we have in our house, there's a podcast running 24/7.
Love that.
We do not have silent space. Like even sleeping, he sleeps with earpods in. I'm not kidding. I'm like, what the? I could never. I'm like full like blackout earplugs, this like mask. I have to have it silent. But he is constantly ingesting information. And I think for both, I mean, he went to school for that. I did not. So, you know, I've learned so much through him and
it's a good fit.
We're seeing huge growth with, you know, everything he's implemented. I think I was thinking a little smaller and now I'm thinking way larger. Like I have such high expectations for the brand and for myself because I know we're capable. We just gotta, you know, keep going. And even this year we've seen such crazy growth. It's like, wow, the fact that it's only been a year and we are where we are just is crazy to me. From like our kitchen table. I know. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And I'm just also trying to stay in the present because I know I'm going to miss this phase when we're on to the next. So it goes back to me just being like, okay, enjoy this, babe.
Yeah,
not going to be long here. Enjoy this.
Have there been any arguments between you guys with work stuff?
Oh my God. It's funny because like,
please tell me.
Yeah, I'm like, if you meet us, if you meet us in person and you're like, everybody's like, you guys are just the perfect like combo. I'm so outgoing. And we're the people like at the party who when we walk in, we go into the separate parts of the room because we're just like both want to have our own social, you know, and we'll meet up and I'm like, hey babe, like it's perfection as far as that goes. And then in the business, I think I am a little bit more of an avoidant for the things that I don't want to deal with, right? And he's more of like, let's tackle this immediately and try and like move on. So I've learned that's obviously the best case scenario, but absolutely there are days where we're down each other's throats in the best way though. We're on the same team. We want the same things. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, that's the most important. But like, we've also been really good about, you know, he's never worked with anybody besides being in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
And since I've been in this business for almost 7 years now, and I've had to work on separating my personal time and my business time, which is nearly impossible for a founder, you know?
Yeah.
I've had to try and implement that in the relationship as well. So I'm like, babe, like we have to have the time where sometimes I'll say, hey, can I talk to my boyfriend right now? Because it really is that kind of awareness. And, you know, yeah, it really is just an awareness that you bring into the room by saying, hey, I need to talk to my boyfriend for a minute. Or it's 10 at night and I'm still creating, but I'm like, hey, can I just like cuddle with my boyfriend? Or, you know, because we will talk about business in bed. And
totally.
Like, okay.
Same.
I'm like, wait, let's shut it off now. Let's be done. And there are days where truthfully I will wake up, like a lot of weekends I do pop-ups Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday I really need to recharge and just be like with the dogs, go on walks, go to the beach, watch the sunset, like just absolutely decompress. And he's really good about, you know, just slightly bringing it up, be like, hey, is this a good time? I really need your help on this one thing. But like he does everything else to try and not ask me, which I really appreciate because it's that makes a huge difference, right? He's like, hey, I've exhausted all options, but at the end of the day, I do need your advice on this. And I'm so happy to give it because it's always valuable things. You know, he's insanely smart and I'm super lucky.
Did you guys have to work on that communication or do you think you learned it pretty quick? Like, was he already pretty communicative? Or like my husband and I, we did not learn right away. It was like he came from like boiler room style finance world where it was just like bro culture.
Yep.
The quickest way to a point. There's no thought of consideration of feelings or emotions or how things could be going. So everything was just like, why are you doing that? What? You need to be doing this. We need more sales over here, or this or that. So I just shut down.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of learning the back and forth of, hey, when you talk like this is what happens. Did you guys have to do that? Or do you think he came in pretty like open to how you work?
I think it was helpful that I've always worked from home for the most part. So he's already seen and he knows the way that I communicate, which is part of the reason why we fell in love. I'm a very open communicator. I'm the kind of person I can't have conflict for even a minute. I'm like, hey, wait, can we talk this out really quick?
That's so good.
And like partly to therapy, obviously, and how I grew up and everything. My parents are very communicative as well. So
that's huge.
Yes.
That is like woven through why you're so successful. Like I can see it. I can feel it.
Thank you.
Because nothing will stew underneath.
I can't possibly.
Yeah.
Like it is like an allergic reaction for me. I've always been that way. I'm very, what's the opposite of avoidant?
Yeah.
I'm like, let's talk about it right now before I leave the room. I literally cannot let it go.
It's literally huge because there won't be problems that mount up, which is why people have breakdowns, which is why people lose their business, their relationship, their friendships.
Yes.
Because there's always resentment that comes when you're not having a conversation that needs to be had. So that is like
totally
so powerful. I want people to grasp that you're just like, I can't fucking not talk about something.
Yes. So I think he was already like that in our relationship. Even if there was like small conflict in our relationship at the beginning, just normal stuff that couples go through, he realized I'm the kind of person who's like, okay, let's tackle this tonight, right now. What can we do to make this better? Like, what can I do? How can I change? Or what can you do to change? You know, just being very aware as well, self-aware.
Yeah.
So I think those were big pieces. But yeah, I mean, it's like everybody, you know, we're not perfect, but I'm very, very lucky. Like we're definitely in a circumstance where we really get each other. He really can see it in my eyes when I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day. Or like for today, for instance, like we're doing this podcast and then I'm going home and doing a live for a sale. And I had a pop-up yesterday, the day before and the day before. But like he could tell I'm in my flow. Like I love it. I'm so happy. And I'm always loving what I do. But there are definitely times where it's like 11 at night and I'm like, okay, let's just like have a martini and be boyfriend, girlfriend now. It's really hard for a lot of people to like put it to bed, especially after even if you've had like a bad day or even a good day. I'm like, let's just not talk about it at all. Which is, it's hard.
How do girlfriends come into play for you for like support in your life?
Oh my gosh. Well, I have so many different sets of girlfriends because I went to that performing arts high school. So those girls will always be like my sisters.
Yep.
And that's been so important for me to like, I've always had them. I made a couple of like best friends in my late 20s. And then recently we just moved to Long Beach and I've met more girlfriends out there. And so, I just had my birthday party like 2 weeks ago and all my groups got together and like that is the best feeling for me. And
so fun.
It's also important because some of my girlfriends are in this business or they're influencers or, whatever they're doing. It's like, that's been really helpful for me because we can kind of be a sounding board for each other as far as like advice and what each other knows versus what, you don't know. So every time we hang out, even if it's just like over martinis, we're going to talk about it, which is nice for me because it's a different person than like my partner and they're not invested equally. They're just kind of being from an outsider's perspective, like what they would do. So, but it's been so phenomenal. It's been so great. They always support every launch. Everybody posts, everybody talks about it. Like I'm so blessed with like good friends who see my energy and truly meet it.
It's like life-changing, I think, for growing a business, like just having people who get it.
Totally.
Who understand when you're like, sorry, girl, I'm in like hustle mode, but I can meet you here quick or I can do that, or, hey, I need some help around this launch or could you post this? Like just having that is life-changing. What would you say to an entrepreneur who's listening, who wants to start something like this, but maybe is a little freaked out, doesn't know where to begin?
I would say there is no time like today to start. I always think like you should take up space, even if it's a saturated market. I hear that from so many people like, oh, there's so many clothing brands. There's so many yoga wear brands. And I'm like, but they're not you. They are not you. There's millions of jewelry brands, but they're not me. I would always tell girls that I would train because I was like a sales trainer in the retail years. And I would be like, that everybody who walks into the store can buy anything on these racks online, right? In today's day and age, they can. But the reason why they're coming in here or, to your pop-up or to your website or whatever is because they are invested in your story and truly believe in who you are and your business. So I would say to all entrepreneurs, like, nobody's you. So why not go for it? Like if it's truly what you love, I will say if it's not something you love, it's not going to do well. I believe that through and through. Like I can see the inauthenticity in some people's environments. And I'm just like, if you just sold something else or did something else that you really loved, because you're incredible, that it would do so well. It would just do so well. And that I could say that to myself, working in retail, like, babe, if you just put yourself in a different room or if you just started your own thing, but there's always factors. Obviously you have to pay rent, you have to do what you have to do, but even just doing it in that, you have a 9 to 5, even doing it from 5 to 9 when you get home and saying like, I'm going to set aside these 4 hours to invest in myself because that's what you're doing. At the end of the day, working for yourself is the ultimate dream. It's always been my dream. And I've seen it, in my whole family. And I'm like, I have to choose this. It's incredible. It's an incredible way to live. It's also a very hard way to live, right? Because you're constantly clocking yourself and checking yourself. But it's also showing up for yourself in your dream. If you have a passion, I don't think you ignore that. You've got one life.
Yeah. I feel the exact same way. I'm like, I literally can't imagine dying with all the things all the ideas that I have inside of me. I'm such a creator.
Yeah. No,
Is it ever hard for you? Well, I think you have a brand where you can go and, you create hats, you have, jewelry, do you have any other accessories outside of hats? And
we are going to be launching a new category in the coming year, so definitely stay tuned. It's really exciting. I just want Ginneca Row to be a place where like your man, your kids, and you could all go shopping, right?
Love
so
this.
When we introduced the hats, we brought like a huge male clientele to the website and in person and everything, and that's been so great for us because I'm always like, you've got the wife and the husband in the booth, and I want to be able to give to everybody. So it's been really great so far. We're like a one-stop shop for that, but we are, expanding into a new category, which I'm very excited about. I just really want to be able for you to get, if it's like Christmas, I want you to get all your gifts in one place and you like be able to trust the quality. So
you feel like that your creativity can kind of all fit under that umbrella.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Where do you want to see Ginneca Row in a year? What's like a big dream?
In a year.
Is it on someone? Is it in somewhere? What are they?
I would say there are a couple of people who we're speaking to right now that have been on my vision board for a very long time. And I won't name names, but I hope to bring them to fruition in the new year as far as online stores. And they're majors. So that would be really huge for us. As of now, we're available in like 42 stores nationwide, which is huge. And I've done that all just by like cold outreach, which has been great, or just because of our socials or they've seen us somewhere. But yes, definitely just expanding into more stores and more areas. Like the fact that we're not in Texas or in New York is crazy to me. So working on expanding in different states so you guys can shop in person more, not just online, because really feeling the product, seeing it, trying it on, feeling the quality of the jewelry especially is huge.
Totally. Yeah. I was not sure when I ordered online.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it looks amazing online. And then I got it and I was like, I get so many compliments on it.
I love that.
Yeah. I get so many compliments. I'm obsessed, especially honestly, this, what is this one called? The rodeo ring?
Yes.
I don't know. Everybody
I would say that was a collab. So I'd say in the new year, definitely harping on more collabs.
Yeah,
we have
so
a lot
fun.
of people in our inbox who I'm excited to work with. So
something
to look forward to. Yes.
So where can we go? Where can we get it? I know you have some really exciting stuff coming up. Tell us all the things.
You guys, every time I launch a collection, I'm like, no, wait, this is really the best launch.
It really has been like, it just keeps getting better. I'm a huge fan, guys.
Thank you. I'm like, our product has never been better. Our quality control is crazy. Like I always wear something for like a month beforehand. I'm wearing like, here's a little Easter egg. I'm wearing like 5 new things here. But if I don't sweat in it, wear it in the water, it's not ready for you. So I am like fully test everything
I love
out.
that.
And all of this stuff is so great. So we're doing a massive Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. We're kind of toying around with the idea of doing like a different item on sale for like 12 days of December, which I think we'll do.
So fun.
And then our big launch is TBD. It's going to be right after Black Friday, I believe, or right before it. So you'll have to look out for it. And then we'll have a special discount if you guys watch the podcast.
Yes. I'm so excited. So you guys can scroll down to see all of that in the show notes. So you can just click on the links below there. I have everything lined up in the show notes. But I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be in a room with someone like you. It is just magical. And we're so like-minded, I feel like. So it's just such an organic
I know we'll have to do a part 2.
I'm like, let's do the martini.
I know. We almost drank on this one, but I was like, you know what? Let's do this first and then maybe leave part 2 for martinis.
Yeah, we'll go deeper.
Yeah, we'll do that with martinis. Okay. Sounds good. Well, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much, Lori.